news if you thought the chirpy, endearing little Suzuki Jimny small SUV was dead. It lives on in this commercial form as the Jimny LCV. But all the things we loved about the fourth generation Jimny stay intact. It's the van you never knew you wanted.
Like us, you can probably think of quite a few cars that left production far too soon. In the modern era, that's usually because they fail to meet ever more stringent emissions regulations, and such a casualty was the fourth generation Suzuki Jimny small SUV. And that was launched here at the end of 2018, but it stayed on sale in the UK for only 18 months. It turned out its modest 1.5 litre petrol engine was dragging down Suzuki's model range 95 grams per kilometre CO2 fleet average, so it had to go, and that was that. Or so we thought, but then someone at Suzuki discovered the N1 light commercial vehicle category, which covers LCVs under 3.5 tonnes. Models of that sort sold here, classified as vans, don't contribute to their manufacturer's CO2 fleet average. Other parts of the globe already wanted an LCV-orientated Jimny. Why not sell that here? Hence, in 2021, the launch of this model, the Jimny LCV. Let's get this straight. If you've no intention of ever going off-road, don't even bother with this Suzuki. You'll hate it within the first half mile. The low-speed ride crashes over bumps, and the tall, slab-sided shape rolls its way through the bends. To be fair, this fourth generation version is better in this regard than the pre-2018 era model, but that's not saying very much. On the plus side, there's only 1,090 kilos of mass to roll about, and the steering does give you some sort of idea as to what's going on beneath you. There's a 5-speed manual gearbox, and power comes from a 1.5 litre normally aspirated petrol unit offering 110 horsepower and a top speed of just 90 miles an hour. Off-road, of course, things are very different. It's no exaggeration to say that this little Suzuki can get to places that larger, pricier and more sophisticated SUVs couldn't even think about. Lightweight will do that for you. Suzuki's mission statement with this model line, to make the one and only small, lightweight four-wheel drive vehicle, remains credible thanks to the engineering that lies beneath that bodywork. You're offered two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive and four-wheel drive with the low mode, and you get a ladder-framed chassis and 3-link rigid axle coil-sprung suspension. To it has been added extra tech like hill hold and hill descent control, emergency brake support and various driver assistance systems. Visually, the Jimny looks very little different in this LCV, guys. A model designed more for the mud than the metropolis. Flared wheel arches, bulky side panels and that spare wheel on the tailgate give it a purposeful look intended to reflect a rugged personality. Long-standing Jimny design cues like round headlights and independent indicators are present and correct, and the front grille will be familiar to previous buyers too. Inevitably, those compact dimensions means that space is something of a premium inside. The footwells, for example, are very tight, and the driver and front seat passenger will need to be on friendly terms. The dashboard, which lacks a central screen, is pretty functional, and black plastic predominates around the cabin. The seats are comfortable, but they're not really intended for overly long trips. The previous couple of seats in the back have, of course, been removed to create this model as a commercial vehicle. To qualify as an LCV, this Suzuki needed a load length of more than 900 millimeters, which required the front seats to be moved forward 10 millimeters. That's created a total usable area of 0.86 meters cubed, or 863 litres, and that's 33 litres more than the old passenger car's boot could offer with the rear seats folded flat. Suzuki wants £16,796 ex-VAT for the Jimny LCV, £19,999 with VAT. There's a choice of 6 different colours and a range of accessories, including roof bars and underbody protection for tough off-roading. Bear in mind, though, that these things are likely to do little for residual values when time comes to sell. There really aren't any other van alternatives that are this capable off-road, unless you pay more than twice as much for commercial versions of the Toyota Land Cruiser and the Land Rover Defender. The standard Jimny LCV spec includes 15-inch steel wheels, a rather basic DAB radio with Bluetooth, a multifunction steering wheel and air conditioning. The key safety features from the passenger model have been carried forward, and that means you get Suzuki's dual sensor brake support system for automatic emergency braking. Now, if the system determines that there's a risk of collision with a forward vehicle or pedestrian, it issues an audio and visual warning. It increases braking force or applies strong automatic brakes depending on the situation, and that's in an effort to avoid the collision or reduce damage. Plus, there is an equal emergency assist function, a hill holder, hill descent control and tyre pressure monitoring. If you're choosing the Jimny LCV as a commercial vehicle first and foremost, you might be rather disappointed with it because it can only take a modest total load capacity of 863 litres or 0.86 cubic metres. The old rear seats have been replaced by a mesh and steel bulkhead which separates those at the front from the loading area. Unlike most other car-derived vans, the rear windows remain in place, and that'll make filling the loading area to the roof a rather precarious idea. You won't be doing that with cargo that's very heavy though, because this LCV's payload is limited to 150 kilos. To give you some perspective there, a normal Super Mini based van will usually take about half a tonne. Now, given that the less than environmental emissions showing from this vehicle's 1.5 litre petrol engine was the reason it was withdrawn from the UK market in passenger form, you might expect the running costs offered up here to be rather less than exemplary. Actually, they're not too bad, as ought to be the case from an SUV this light. The 1.5 litre engine returns 36.7 mpg, that's combined WLTP, and 173 grams per kilometre of CO2, WLTP again, which is less than spectacular for a vehicle and powertrain this small, but will hardly break the bank. As it was in passenger form, this Jimny is weighed down by the weight of those 4x4 mechanicals, and under the bonnet you don't get the most modern power plant either. Electrification, well, that wasn't even thought about by the engineers who developed this model. What else? Well, once your Jimny's been registered for 3 years, it will become eligible for Suzuki's fixed price servicing package, and that will enable you to get servicing carried out for a single fixed price, and that includes parts, labour and VAT. Like every Suzuki model, this one comes with a 3-year, 60,000 mile warranty. The brand maybe needs to think about extending that to match rivals who now offer 4, 5 or even 7-year plans. There's also a year's breakdown cover which extends across the whole of Europe and which includes roadside recovery. You can extend that yourself at extra cost via arrangement with your dealer. A 12-year anti-rust guarantee comes with the vehicle too. This LCV version is only a temporary reprieve for the 4th generation Jimny design, but it's a welcome one. In passenger car form, this was the little 4x4 that folk in search of a small SUV ought to have chosen, but rarely did. And likewise, in van guise, it'll probably be roundly ignored by the mainstream market, which is fine because Suzuki's UK importers only have 400 examples to sell until this 4th generation Jimny design really is gone for good. If, like us, you always rather liked the idea of one, then here's a last chance to indulge yourself, even if you didn't really start out looking for a van. All the things that were great about the Jimny in passenger form stay intact here, including its superb off-road prowess. And there's the loading versatility that you thought might have required a pickup as a lifestyle addition to your garage. Choose one of these instead and make your street a cheerier place.